Coming up next on News Channel 13 live at 11, two reported abductions tonight, one involving a Saratoga County woman, the other a 12-year-old girl from Albany. Reaction to a guilty verdict in the Eugene Mullins retrial, and we'll toast the cast of Cheers live from Boston and Colony. All that and Jerry Seinfeld just ahead on News Channel 13 live at 11.
This is News Channel 13, WNYT, Albany. And now, live for the Capital Region, Ed Dague, Chris Kapostasy, Bob MacNamara with sports, and meteorologist Bob Kovachick. This is News Channel 13, live at 11.
Good evening on what is being called the greatest night on television. We will take you live to Cheers parties in Boston and in Colony in just a moment. But first, news of two alleged abductions in the area tonight, both taking place in broad daylight. Saratoga County sheriffs are now looking for two men believed to have been involved in the bizarre abduction of a woman in a grocery store parking lot. Bill Lambdin is in Ballston Spa tonight with details. Bill?
Chris, a 20-year-old town of Boston woman tells authorities she was abducted at gunpoint, driven around for 20 minutes, and then allowed to leave. The 20-year-old woman says she drove to this Grand Union supermarket on Route 50 in Ballston Spa about 4:15 in the afternoon. As she got out of her car, she says the side panel of an old blue van opened up. A man with a gun ordered her inside.
The van left the Grand Union parking lot and drove north on Route 50 towards the city of Saratoga. At that time, they tied her wrist with a cord and attempted to sexually assault her.
Authorities have released this composite drawing of a suspect. He's described as about 6 feet, 180 pounds, with acne scars. The victim says a second man was driving, but she did not get a good look at him. Although the woman says her mouth was covered with duct tape and her hands bound, she was able to fight off rape attempts in the moving van, and after about 20 minutes, ended up released in the Grand Union parking lot where she was first taken.
It's unknown, how these individuals think, whether they got nervous and scared and decided it was a bad idea and returned her. We're still looking into that.
Injuries to the woman were superficial, a few facial cuts. As you can see, authorities are treating this very seriously. However, they admit this is a very strange story, and they do have some doubts. Chris?
Bill, it should be busy around there that time of day. No witnesses?
Very strange. No witnesses have come forward, and the woman, once she was released, went home before she called police. So police got involved in this very late. The trail was already cold by the time they got involved.
Thanks, Bill. Bill Lambdin reporting live. The search is on tonight for a man wanted in the reported abduction and sexual assault of a 12-year-old girl. The girl says it happened near Hackett Middle School in Albany at about 3:30 yesterday afternoon. She says a man reached out, pulled her into his car, punched her, fondled her, then drove her to the Omni Hotel where he attacked her again before she got away. Police are asking anyone who witnessed the incident to come forward. The attorney representing Eugene Mullins says he'll appeal today's guilty verdict, but the family of his victim, Barbara Getke, hopes this verdict will stand so they can get the 11-year ordeal behind them. Mullins was found guilty this afternoon by a Rensselaer County jury of the 1982 axe murder of Barbara Getke. Mullins has been convicted twice before in this slaying, but higher courts overturned those convictions on appeal. Now let's get the latest on what local police and fire departments are working on right now. Here's Mark Mulholland in the Operations Center.
Chris, a 20-year-old Albany man at the hospital tonight after falling through a loose footboard in the Washington Park footbridge tonight. George Kern is at Albany Med after being treated for a possible broken leg. The Parks Department has closed off that footbridge. Just off the phone with Capital Cablevision, it seems cable service was interrupted in several areas tonight, including parts of Guilderland and West Albany. Cable company unable to tell us exactly what caused the outage. We've received several phone calls here in the Operations Center, people trying to watch the last call of Cheers. It's 11:04. That's the latest from the Operations Center.
Thank you, Mark. In fact, it's last call in bars and living rooms all around the Albany area and across the country. You've just seen the final original episode of the hit TV series Cheers. The cast of the show is celebrating 11 years of success at the Bull and Finch Pub in Boston. We'll join Ed Dague live from Boston in just a moment. But first, let's head to the Albany Marriott on Wolf Road. Original Norm Sebastian is standing by live. Norm!
Hi, Chris. I can just barely hear you. We obviously having quite a party here tonight. Everybody watching the last episode of Cheers, and it certainly was a very touching show for most of us. It's very entertaining. I think we have a few clips of the show that we can show you if you happen not to catch it tonight. And I don't know, what else can I say after watching Cheers all these years? Certainly was a fitting end to what was a great series. And again, I don't know where to start. Maybe Diane dumping Sam, or maybe Norm with his little expose about beer. I don't know, but it was a typical Cheers episode, and it was fun. Great to watch.
Norm, I understand that there were some look-alike contests tonight. Any good look-alikes?
Well, actually, if I could have Gino swing the camera on over here, you'll be able to see some of the look-alikes. You can see one that kind of looks like Diane over there, and we had a real good Sam Malone. They're all saying hi to you now, Chris, and it's kind of crazy over here, to say the least. I don't know if this is crazier than the Shaker High School I was doing earlier today, but either way, it's loud.
Enjoy, Norm. Thanks very much.
Okay.
Norm, live at the Marriott. The biggest party of them all tonight is in Boston, and that's where Ed Dague has been all day. What's going on there, Ed?
Oh, it's continuing, Chris. This is the wildest scene you could imagine. Jay Leno was just down behind us warming up his audience. He, of course, comes live from here at 11:35. This tonight is all celebration. This is the biggest street party I've ever seen or even heard about. They stood for hours, cheering, screaming, and celebrating. Oversized TV screens brought them the final Cheers episode, and limousines brought them the Cheers cast. In the crowd, dozens from our area, drawn here this night by a celebration that seemed to captivate all of Boston.
I was down here like 4 o'clock this afternoon, and it was crazy, just like this. But this is great. If you're walking up and down, the crowd here is really sincerely, you know, into the show.
Oh, I love Cheers. I've been watching it for the last 12 years. Why are you here?
It's the biggest party in town.
Tell me about it.
It still is, and this was so wild through the night. I'm going to ask Lou if he can pan up here to the 3rd floor behind me. There's a white sheet hanging out a window. The Cheers cast was up in that room through the whole show, but occasionally they'd stick their head out. In fact, Norm, George Wendt, put that white sheet out. I can't read it from here, but the crowd went berserk, and as you can hear, Chris, they still are. This is some kind of wild scene. Is that, yes, that's Kelsey Grammer now. And John Ratzenberg, I can see. Woody Harrelson, I think. So, and you can hear the reaction of the crowd. Chris, I have no hope of hearing you. So I'll just say goodbye from Boston for the moment and see you, I think, again at about 11:30.
Okay. Thanks very much. Ed Dague, live at the Cheers party in Boston. Looks like he is having one heck of a good time.
He's having a party. He may not come back till Monday or Tuesday of next week. Who knows? Chris, let's talk about tomorrow morning. We got some fog around, pretty dense right now. Our first look at tomorrow will bring clouds and dense fog, low 40s to start with, sunrise 5:27. The fog will burn away, and yes, there'll be some sun, mid-60s in the afternoon. More on the forecast in a few minutes.
How'd he and Norm get those gigs?
Yeah, how'd they get this? We're here stuck in this stuffy studio.
Serious science and journalism.
Right, you're right.
Thanks, Bob. There's much more still to come here on News Channel 13 live at 11. John Gray introducing us to a local casualty of the war on drugs. Phil Bailey looks for wasted government funds behind prison walls. And our Health Matters reporter, Benita Zahn, with a moving story about children with hearing impairment.
News Channel 13 is sponsored in part by Adams Heating and Cooling and by Builder Square.
For every crime, there is a victim, and when that crime is murder, it can be impossible for the family of that victim to recover. Tonight, John Gray joins us with the story of one young victim in his series, Drugs, Guns, and Money, the Upstate Pipeline. John.
Well, Chris, it brings me back to New Year's Day, 1992. I was here at the station when I was sent out to Schenectady, Hamilton Hill to be exact, to the scene of a shooting. I will never forget that day. I'm not the only one.
He was well-liked, and he did go to church. He always would say, when he make it, He's going to support, you know, take care of his children. And he's doing very good.
It happened in the Hamilton Hill section of the city in broad daylight. When the gunfire ended, a young man lay dead in the street.
I was having nightmares and I couldn't sleep. And we still carrying the pain. Because it was cold blood murder.
Her name is Louise Holmes, a mother who lost her son. His name was Eugene, a young boxer who died too young, gunned down by an alleged drug dealer from New York City.
I don't know, he took a lot away from us, you know. Now his kids have to grow up without a father, me without a brother, and I really do miss him.
You miss your father?
So does 6-year-old Darnell, one of Eugene's 5 children. Police say his death was drug-related. His mother will not believe it.
Eugene wasn't using drugs. He wasn't using drugs. But I do believe it was jealousy and it was a setup. I do believe that.
She believed it so strongly she did what few of us would do. She went to court to confront her son's killer.
How could you kill my child like that? You think him and ask, do you care? My son is gone.
I do care.
I visit him every day. He's in the cemetery. He's gone.
I really wanted to hit him. And I was just asking him, why did you do it? And he couldn't give me an answer. But when he was leaving, he said he was sorry.
Does that help at all, or just, is that like...
No, it don't.
I would let him know that I'm hurting what he's done to my brother. And nothing he can say or do can bring my brother back.
I think about him all the time. I still cry. My daughter, she cries. She have nightmares. The pain is still there.
I've seen that story a few times. It's still, it's hard to watch. It's a difficult story to watch. Tomorrow, Chris, we're going to be looking at what some other states are doing in their drug wars. It's very interesting.
Thank you, John. Bet you can't guess who gets the best deal when buying food and other groceries in the capital region. In Phil Bailey's Waste Watchers report, he tells us state prison inmates are buying items at bargain prices.
Waste Watchers has obtained the price list for commissaries at New York State prisons. And law-abiding citizens wonder if New York's 63,000 prison inmates, many of them arrested for holding us up outside prison walls, aren't still holding us up on the inside.
Maybe it pays to go.
Look at the price for name-brand cigarettes, for example. At the supermarket, Marlboros cost $2.71, but in the pen, a pack will cost you $1.78. At the supermarket, you can chase it down with a Pepsi for 70 cents, but in the big house, it will cost you less than half that.
No, that is unfair, really.
Prison inmates get to shop at a commissary once every couple of weeks. From a list of items, 2 pages long. At the supermarket, a bar of Ivory soap will cost you 30 cents, but behind bars, a bar goes for 26. A small bag of Wise potato chips is $1.25 at the store, a bargain until you see a prisoner purchase it for 13 cents. Ben & Jerry's Chunky Monkey, $2.79 in the store, $1.88 in stir. But the State Department of Corrections says
we buy in volume, and anything that you buy in volume is cheaper than buying an individual item. So that the price on 1,000 bars of soap is going to be significantly less than what you pay for 1 bar of soap.
prisons are also nonprofit, and inmates don't pay sales tax. But bottom line, the next time you buy something at the store, a prison inmate might be able to buy 2 for the price of 1. Phil Bailey in East Greenbush for Waste Watchers.
How well does your child hear? Health Matters reporter Benita Zahn says your answer could be crucial to their development and their success.
That's right, Chris. You know, the experts say the earlier you intervene for a child with a hearing impairment, the better they'll do in life. And there's a special program ensuring that success.
Look at it. 3. 1, 2.
Mother Nature robbed these kids of hearing. This special pre-K program gives them back communication skills. Run by BOCES and based in Altamont, it draws children aged 6 months to 5 years from Albany, Schenectady, and Schoharie counties.
The earlier you intervene with services for a hearing-impaired child, the greater success you have in developing their speech and language skills.
What happens if you don't start early?
A child who comes to us at age 3 with the language skills of, say, a 6-month-old, that's 2.5 years of catch-up that we have to do.
And because social skills are built through hearing, deaf children often fall behind, but not here.
Our little babies come in, and within a few weeks, they're modeling each other sign. They're understanding that if they sign, they will get things, which is so crucial.
How well do these kids learn?
They learn beautifully with the proper intervention and the proper support.
Ryan, we'll see you tomorrow morning. Yay!
Signals your child may be hearing impaired, not being startled by loud sounds, failure to focus on your face when you talk, no baby babbling or delayed speech. Now this Saturday, the Capital Area Speech and Hearing Association holds a speech and hearing screening day at more than 30 locations across the Capital Region. Just call 437-0915 for details. And Chris, this is one of a couple of programs that's really trying to work to get to the kids when they're so young, when you can really make a difference.
It's inspiring to see them.
It is.
Thanks, Benita. And meteorologist Bob Kovachick will be up in just a minute with more on the weekend forecast. Well, it's expected record numbers of people were sitting in front of their TVs tonight, so the fact it's not so great outside maybe doesn't matter.
There's nobody on the road. Everybody's watching TV, but we got some fog around, Chris. Let's tell you the weather. It does look better for tomorrow. Active check first for today. I went for a high 60 to 65 with some showers, pretty much right on, although the high only 58 at the Albany County Airport. Look at this. It's cool. 44 right now. We've had almost 4/10 of an inch of rain. 58, 44 the high and low. You can see we're quite a bit below our normal high of 71, record high 91, record low 32. Humidity at 100, and the visibility is about a mile at the Albany County Airport, and quite dense fog in some parts of the area. The barometer steady. Visibility 1/4 of a mile down at Poughkeepsie, where it's 44, also 44 at Utica and Watertown. Mid to upper 40s. The rain showers that occurred earlier in the evening have now passed well to the north. Still some showers at Rutland and Burlington, but the rest of the area dry. Satellite review showing some hope for tomorrow. You'll watch, you can see this large counterclockwise wind flow, but watch the cloud cover over the Great Lakes, the Ohio Valley, and the Northeast. It kind of builds up during the day, dissipates during this evening, but notice there are quite a few breaks in the clouds, so I think after the fog burns away early to mid-morning, we'll have tomorrow, and that May sun will push temperatures well into the 60s, so it's going to be a decent Friday afternoon. But this storm will sit in Canada right on through the weekend and circulate fairly cool air into the region. Every once in a while, the clouds will boil up high enough to produce a shower, maybe even a brief thunderstorm. So kind of a little bit of everything over the weekend. Some sun, some clouds, and a shower here and there. Record cool across the plains into the Ohio Valley. The warmest weather continues to be over the western half of the country. Here's the national radar tonight showing those showers moving on out. So I do expect some pretty good news for tomorrow. Don't look at the forecast yet. You didn't see that. We'll be back in just a moment. Pretty chilly tonight. 40 to 45 clouds, areas of dense fog. Watch the driving. Visibility cut down quite a bit in some spots. 63 to 68 tomorrow, clouds and fog, but a pretty nice Friday afternoon with a light northwest breeze. Lots of clouds, cool Friday night, 43 to 48. And my outlook for Saturday, again, clouds, some sun, not a lot. Mild, though, and many spots will get an afternoon shower. High Saturday, 67 to 72. Sunday, about the same, partly sunny near 70. Monday looks good, low 70s. More showers and storms on Tuesday. So we're gradually edging back to some good weather for the most part.
Thanks, Bob. Coming up next on News Channel 13 Live at 11, Mac with playoff action from the NBA and NHL. Then later, we'll head back to the Bull and Finch for another round of cheers. And Jerry Seinfeld will show us where he eats and drinks when he's in the Big Apple. After tonight, the New York Islanders are going to need some divine intervention to stay alive in this series with Montreal.
Oh, it's bad. Hey, they had a win tonight and they couldn't get it done, Chris. Now they face the thought of trying to beat powerhouse Montreal 4 in a row. and nobody beats that club 4 in a row, so tonight was probably it. Islanders struck first on a second period goal by Pierre Turgeon off the beautiful feet of the streaking Brad Delgarno, right under Patrick Waugh. Turgeon 6 to the playoff. But Montreal came back, 5:14 to go in the game. The Canadians all over Glenn Healy with Damphus finally getting him with a backhander. That took it to overtime, and that's where Montreal won it. Guy Carbonneau launching a rocket to win it suddenly 2-1. It will take a miracle now for the Islanders to come back from this bad. In basketball, the Phoenix Suns are going to the Western Conference Finals. They eliminated San Antonio tonight in 6 games, but it was a war. Barkley chopped them up, though. 28 points, 21 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 steals. To top it all off, he won him the game quite literally. 2 seconds ago, he takes on David Robinson one-on-one and beats him with a pull-up J. What a talent. He and Jordan truly live on another planet. Final 102-100. In other action, Houston doing it to Seattle by 12 in the third period. Seattle leads in that series 3-2. Meantime, Larry Brown quit tonight as coach of the LA Clippers. He had 2 years to go in his contract. They say the traveling man's next stop may be the Indiana Pacers. He is a beauty. In baseball, Brian Taylor and the AC Yankees rained out tonight with Bowie. But Taylor will pitch tomorrow night when the Yankees open a 3-game weekend series against Reading. In the big show today, great catch by Milwaukee's Robin Young. Got to see this in action against Detroit. Tyler hits one that looks like sure extra bases. Young gets there with a sensational diving catch. Whoa! Skyler had to be sick on that. What a grab. Tigers, though, blew him away with 6 in the 8th. Gamer here. Travis Fryman with a pop single to right. That was good enough to plate a couple of runs. Brewers did nothing to help themselves in that inning either. Graham Lloyd throwing wild to third on a bunt by Gibson, allowing Fryman to score. The final 6-2. Tigers now up 2.5 games on the idle Yankees. Meantime, in the ninth, Seattle having no problems with Texas. Baltimore beaten today by Cleveland. Albert Bell with 3 hits, his 39th RBI. He leads the Bigs. KC 1-0 over Oakland in the 7th, and Toronto 4-3 over Boston. Carter drove in the winning run in the 9th inning. In the National League, San Francisco 6-1 over Cincinnati. Giants 6 straight now. Philadelphia 9-3 over Montreal. St. Louis 5-3 over Chicago in the 8th inning. And in 11, Griff homer wins it. San Diego 5-4 over Colorado. Talking sports briefly, Siena has decided to stick with just 4 basketball games for the Knicks next season. The following year, then he put the full schedule in there. Former Adirondack boss Bill Dineen, the 60-year-old coach of the Philadelphia Flyers, expected to be reassigned next season. They'll probably use him as a scout. Speculation tonight that Winnipeg assistant Terry Simpson will get that job. Doug Collins has contacted the Atlanta Hawks about their vacant head coaching job. That's it.
Thanks, Mac. And we'll take you back to the Bull and Finch right after this. Now that Cheers has had its last call, another hit comedy will anchor the Thursday night lineup on NBC, Seinfeld. The star, Jerry Seinfeld, is a born and bred New Yorker. He was brought up on Long Island, went to SUNY Oswego. I interviewed Jerry Seinfeld when he was in town recently. And for those among you planning a trip to the Big Apple, he shares some suggestions, an insider's guide, if you will. Best hangout.
Best bar.
Best cheap restaurant.
I don't know where they are. Best cheap restaurant. The Museum Cafe. 77th in Columbus. Best place in New York for first date? Cafe Lalo.
Best place for a first date when you don't want a second date.
Chase Stadium.
Why, do you make a fool of yourself, or what?
I bet you're losing, you know.
Oh, yeah. Mac liked that. Jerry Seinfeld is in New York tonight following the airing of his series' last episode of the season. It preceded what has been called the major television event of the year. And now the final original episode of Cheers is history. Let's go back to Ed Dague at the Bull and Finch for last call. Mr. Dague.
Hi, Chris. I don't have a clue, to tell you the truth, how the final Cheers ended. We could not see it here, but what a night this has been in Boston. You can see it, you can hear it's still going on. I don't know as the soul has left. And, of course, behind me now, Jay Leno is about to originate the Tonight Show live. So this is just a celebration in Boston that's not to be believed. And a fellow just stopped me over here where the crowd is roped off, gave me his card, told me he watched us at 6 o'clock in Albany. Looked like so much fun. They sped across the Mass Pike, got here in time for the celebration tonight. So we have helped stimulate this party, Chris.
That's great. Well, Ed, one of the things you said at 6 was that there were hundreds of TV stations. Is this a worldwide event?
It is. I can't believe it. There are here from all over the country. In fact, we were kind of smiling at the anchors from Miami and Los Angeles wearing these heavy, long trench coats and complaining that it's cold here. It's not cold here at all.
That's great. So tell me what's in store for the rest of the night.
Well, I think everyone here wants to see the Jay Leno show, of course, and that's why this bleacher is set up. That is his audience tonight. Much of the show, including the opening monologue, will take place right on the street, right outside. Then he'll go inside the Cheers bar here, the Bull and Finch, for a while. Well, why should I tell you about that? Let's take you directly to Jay Leno and the Tonight Show live from behind me. Good night.